Imagine going to bed at night knowing you've done all the betting you need for the day, and then waking up to notifications showing plus signs on your account. Sounds like a dream come true, right? Well, that dream can actually become a reality if you follow these 6 simple steps. Trust me, I've turned $3,000 into consistent monthly profit using this approach, and I've helped others do the same. So if you think this method is like sitting at a slot machine for hours just waiting for your lucky streak, think again. Because this time around, we're turning chaotic, emotional betting into a predictable, repeatable system that works for you even while you sleep. And by the end of this video, you'll discover the core tricks sportsbooks don't want you to know. When most people go into sports betting, they think they have to stay online all day to catch the right bets. But all you really need to do is to start from this step. Because if you've built a model that already tells you where the line should be, you wouldn't need to babysit your bets. So, check out this basic framework. Now I'm telling you up front, this isn't a good model. It won't make a profit, but what I want to do is show you the foundations so you can build your own. So let's say you're betting NFL point spreads. You start by looking at each team's average margin of victory over their last 5 games. If Team A wins by an average of 7 and Team B loses by an average of 6, you predict Team A should be favored by around 13. That's a model. It's dead simple with only one variable, and yeah, it's probably wrong, but it's a starting point. Real models go way deeper, sometimes dealing with 100 different numbers. That's because they factor in injuries, quarterback performance under pressure, weather, offensive line metrics, travel fatigue, and even referee tendencies. But you're not Mr. Fantastic, so don't expect to build all of that on day one. Instead, you start with the first version, test it on past games, and see where it fails. Then, as you gain more experience, you add 1 or 2 more variables, retest, and repeat. Over time, your model evolves to become more accurate. But even then, it's never finished. The market adapts, books adjust, and what worked last season might not work anymore. That's exactly why I built a private group, so we can adapt together and keep each other accountable, because sports books aren't standing still. And if we're going to beat billion-dollar algorithms, we can't either. So click the link in the description if you want to join us and spot bets like this every single day. But just because you have a working model in place doesn't mean you'll win all the time. Because let me be real with you for a second. You will tilt, you'll hit a cold streak, you'll watch a game flip on a last-second turnover, and you'll question your system. But that's where 99% of bettors start tweaking like a degenerate. You see, I've known bettors who've been on a 20-bet losing streak. Now, most people would have rage bet the next game or gone full conservative mode. But they didn't flinch. They knew that their edge was proven. They tracked their bets, knew their ROI, and trusted the long game. 30 bets later, they were up over 17 units. So if you want to stay profitable, despite the cold streaks, here's what you need to do. First off, avoid tilt at all costs. If you're getting emotional, step away from your screen and breathe some fresh air or something. Then, once you have a clear head, go back and track every single bet. A simple Google Sheet will do. Oh, and by the way, link in the description if you want my bet tracker template. After that, run a feedback loop. See what worked, what didn't, and what your model missed. Then iterate fast. Remember, system matters more than outcome. So, if your edge is real, short-term losses are irrelevant. And just stick to the plan. Before you know it, you'll be earning almost double the bets you placed, just like this one. And the moment you start winning, you'll feel like doubling down to make more money. But that impulse, it's going to ruin your bankroll faster than a losing streak. Because let me tell you a story. I had a roommate who found a betting system online. He turned $100 into $300 in 3 days and thought he was the next Warren Buffett. So he went on to bet the entire $300 on a UFC fight, and his guy got knocked out in 40 seconds flat. Just like that, my roommate retired from betting the very next morning. Because as we've already established, losing is all part of the game. And if you're betting too much per play, your entire bankroll can get wiped out. That's why pros don't go all in like wannabe high rollers. They'll risk 1 to 2% of their total bankroll per bet max. Boring? Maybe. But that's how you stay alive long enough for the compounding to kick in, which I'll break down in a bit. But before that, let's move on to step 4. And funny enough, this is the one thing almost everyone gets wrong, but it's exactly how the sharps make their money. Here's what I mean. Imagine you're rolling a 6-sided die, but every time it lands on a 6, you win $600. Every other number, you lose $100. Most people wouldn't touch that. They'd say, it's a long shot and move on. But if you run the math, the expected value of each roll is about plus $16.67. That means, on average, you're making money every time you roll. Even if you lose a few times early on, if you keep playing that same edge over and over, you'll come out way ahead in the long run. In theory, it all sounds promising, but how does it actually work? Say you're offered plus 600 on a team, but you believe the real odds should be closer to plus 400. That means the sportsbook thinks this team wins 1 in 7 times, which is 14%, but your model says it's more like 1 in 5, which is 20%. If you're right and you bet $100 10 times, you'll hit twice. That's $1,200 in wins, $800 in losses, and you're pocketing $400 in profit. Now, if you want to know exactly how I set this up, I put together a step-by-step blueprint that shows how I made my first $1,000. It's a system you can copy so you can spot sharp bets yourself instead of relying on luck. So if you're tired of watching your bankroll shrink, hit the link in the description and grab it. Okay, now you're probably thinking, how do you find picks that are profitable bets? Well, this takes us to step 5, and let me put it this way. You walk into a supermarket and see 2 shelves. One has the same bottle of water for $3. The other has it for $2. Which one are you choosing? Obviously the cheaper one, right? By doing that, you get the exact same thing for more value, which is how sharp bettors see odds. To them, every sportsbook is just a different shelf with different prices. So your job is to find the book that's offering the best number and bet there. But the problem with this is that scanning over 12 books manually takes ages. That's why I use a tool called OddsJam. It automatically scans every book for mispriced bets with a positive expected value. And yeah, it costs money, but it allows you to consistently find plus EV bets, which helps you to make your money back fast. In fact, I bet on the Dodgers versus Rockies, taking the Dodgers minus 4.5 at 2.75 odds. OddsJam flagged it as plus EV, so I threw $100 on it. In the end, I got $275 from it. I know what you're thinking. This system sounds like a ton of work and it'll take forever to see any real cash. But think of it like stacking bricks. You start with one brick, which doesn't look like much. But as you keep stacking brick by brick, before you know it, you've already built a house. The same idea works in sports betting, because you're stacking 3 to 5% edges, bet after bet, month after month. And yeah, it doesn't feel exciting right now, but the results are ridiculous over time. So let's say you start with a $5,000 bankroll. You stick to 1% bet size, take 5 bets per day, and only take bets with at least 3% edge. Here's how the math plays out year by year. After a year, you've made $3,000. Then, after 6 years, you've reached the $10,000 per month milestone. And after 10 years, you're sitting at over $1 million. Now, you might withdraw your money, add more in, or even run into betting limits. But when you're stocking small positive edges day after day, the profits start to compound. And that's the secret. By using this math, sharp bettors are letting their bankroll grow even while they're sleeping. And you can too. But what if you're starting fresh? No bankroll, no experience, nothing. Well, I put together a full video walking you through exactly how I'd start from scratch, if I had to. So, before you place your next bet, click right here to watch that video first.